Well, my name's Teresa. I'm 53. I was born in Hong Kong and I came to England when I was 18 months old. And my mother's Chinese, escaping from mainland China to Hong Kong. Met my father in Hong Kong and we lived in Islington in the East End slums for many years, and we moved to Walthamstow when I was 7. And who are you?
Okay, my name's Angie. I grew up in South London and came to East London about 25 years ago, and I work in Tower Hamlets.
Tell us a little bit about what you said to your mum.
Well, I started because I trained as a nurse many years ago, and as I was growing up I realised that I wasn't like the other, because I went to an all-girls school. I've only ever been to all-girls schools from when I was very young, and I realised that I wasn't quite like the other girls in my year, that they kept on talking about boys and makeup and dresses, and I just couldn't relate to it, and I couldn't understand why. And I just thought, well, maybe I hadn't matured, and you know, I just wasn't interested in that. And then I began to realise that actually it was because I didn't really like, my sexual attraction wasn't towards boys. And although I'd had sort of some fleeting relationships with boys, they were very short-lived, and really I realised that my crushes were really with girls. And when I started training as a nurse, I started to have relationships with women. And the first set of relationships were with women because I went to, as like school, most of the nurses, well, all of the nurses were women as well. And many of them in the school that I trained were Catholic nurses. And therefore their religious beliefs also kept sort of having relationships with other women very much, made it very difficult for them. So for a long time I would be having relationships with women, but nobody knew about it. It was felt by them and me, it just so happens to be that I like this person, and it just happens to be a woman. And then after sort of about a year or two, I decided that no, this is who I was, and I didn't want to play this invisible game anymore, and I didn't want to pretend about having relationships with men or being attracted to men, and I wanted to come out. And I then had to think about how I could do that, because I knew that my dad, well, I thought that my dad would understand, but I had no idea how I was going to tell my mum, because my mum doesn't speak a lot of English, and I don't speak a lot of Cantonese, and I knew that culturally then she didn't ever talk about things like anything particularly sexual or cultural or anything. So I realised that there were no kind of words or languages to describe it. So I did tell my dad first, and my brothers I think kind of knew, and I never told my mum, even though my mum would visit me in the house, because Angie and I actually used to be in a relationship for
about 10 years.
10 years. Mm. So she used to come and stay with us, and we used to sleep in the same room obviously, and my mum used to sleep next door, and she used to just think, oh well, it's you career girls.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
She used to think, oh well, Teresa's a career girl, she's not going to wash men's socks and things like that. She had a very perverse understanding of what was going on.
Very kind of simplistic understanding, really.
And I thought, well, she'll cotton on because, you know,
we live as a couple.
It's one bed, we're in there, she's in and out. She's going to cotton on, so it will be easy. But she didn't, did she?
No,
really.
Until she saw that programme. Do you remember?
Yeah, And
she asked you.
She saw this program on the television, and it was about the time sort of the HIV and stuff was on. So there was a lot on the television about lesbian and gay people, and about you know, same-sex relationships. And then she said to me one day, "You, men and men, women and women, you." And I went, "Yeah." She went, "Oh my God." But after that, it's been perfectly fine. She knows the whole thing, and it was just a perverse way of coming out, really.
Well, first of all, though, didn't she say, when she'd seen this programme, didn't she say with you that she saw the programme and she said, it's like man and man, like husband and wife, and woman like husband and wife. Not you and Angie. And she was saying, yes. And she was saying, no. Woman and woman like husband and wife. And she said, yes.
Yeah, I'm going,
yes.
I'm thinking, yeah, she's got it. She's finally got it.
Yeah.
And every time we'd say that, and she went, no, not you and Angie. And I'm going, yes.
Yeah.
So it was quite funny, wasn't it? Trying to come out when you don't have a same cultural understanding or a language understanding. So that was an interesting time. A bit like you coming out to your dad, really.
Yeah. Coming out to my mother, when I was very, very close to my mother, when I came out, when I finally realised that I was a lesbian, I wanted to share that with my mother straight away. And I planned my kind of coming out night with my mother. I went round to her house with a bottle of wine. I played Frank Sinatra music and Andy Williams and all the things that she liked, and said to her, "Mother, are you a little bit worried about me?" And she said, "Well, darling, ever since," she said, "you do seem to be living quite a wild life recently." So I said to her, "Well, actually that's because ever since last summer I've been living as a lesbian." And she was great about it, actually. She was fine, and I thanked her. I said, "You know, you brought me up to be really confident about who I am, to make choices, to be really strong in being a woman, and you know, part of how I can make a choice like this is because of you and how you've brought me up to be true to myself and to be courageous." But one of the things she said is, "Don't tell Daddy. Don't tell Daddy." So I didn't tell Daddy, and she didn't tell my father. And I had a very different relationship with my father, where when I was growing up with my mother, I was had a really strong sense of being female and that being great. With my father, he worked abroad a lot. I didn't know, I wasn't that comfortable with him, so I would just talk about politics and, you know, my career and, you know, safe subjects. I didn't feel comfortable with him like I felt with my mother. And my mother was perfectly happy keeping it a secret from my father. And they retired and they moved down to the coast, and Teresa and I were going down to see them. And my mother would put this spare bed in the guest room, which was meant to be Teresa's bed. And I got to a point where I felt this is disrespectful to my father. I don't want this to happen. And next time we go down there, I'll talk to him. And every time we went down there, I put it off. I thought, next time. Until what I did was I made myself come out to him, because I wrote him a letter saying, next time we're down in Whitstable, I want to have a chat with you. It's nothing to worry about, but I just want to talk to you. And he engineered it the next time that we were down to I know I'm missing out your favourite story.
You are missing out my favourite story that comes before the...
Do you want to tell your favourite
Yeah,
story,
do,
and I'll
I
continue?
do.
Okay.
Because we were there one day when we were staying there, and the way in which her dad could cope with me or saw me was like to be he would talk to me about, well, what was the journey down like, and would you like to watch the football and this kind of sort of thing. And this night we were out, we'd gone for a drink, and we were just walking back, and Angie and everybody wanted to go to the toilet before the walk back, and I was standing outside the toilets with her daddy looking at the notice board, and her mummy and Angie were in the toilets, and I heard, "Mummy, Mummy, Mummy, don't let Daddy come into the bedroom in the morning. Don't let him bring me a cup of tea." And her dad's standing here but next to me, and I'm trying to whistle to pretend that you can't hear this conversation that's going on. "Mummy, yes dear, whatever you do, don't let Daddy bring the tea in the morning." And I didn't know what to do with myself, because he didn't know what this conversation was about. And I'm whistling and I'm trying to point to things on the notice board. And then I told Angie after that how he'd heard this conversation.
So I write this letter the next time we're down. My father then engineers it so that we're actually alone together in the car. He pulls the car up by the sea and says, "So, you've got something to tell me?" And so then I was kind of on the spot, and I said, "Yes, I want to tell you that I'm gay. I was afraid to do it before because the only time we're alone is when we're in the car, and I was afraid you might crash the car in shock while we're driving." And he was I think he was very calm about it. I mean, both my parents were born in 1920, so they were very old, they were old. And he said to me, "Well, do you need to see a psychiatrist?" And I said, "No, I'm fine. I'm happy. I've got a lot of friends. I'm in a community. I don't need any support. I've got support. I'm fine." And coming out to my father actually changed my relationship with him forever, in that I suddenly felt much closer to him. We'd go off having walks together by the sea. I felt comfortable around him for the first time, really, and I really treasure that time, because that's when I felt I really started having a real relationship with him. And I think he really embraced Teresa into the family in his own way. He treated her like an honorary son-in-law, which was his way of coping with it. So he would talk to you about football and darts.
We would walk in front of the other two who were walking behind. I don't quite know the significance of that, but anyway, we would walk in front talking about whatever. Whatever.
Kind of what boy talk,
So I would kind of...
You do your best.
I do my best, because I don't even know anything about football. And I know very much about the things that he would talk about. So the one time that we went to the pub and he wanted me to play a game of darts, do you remember? So I thought I'd better try and play a game of darts. And I beat him, and he got very upset. So we didn't do that again.
No. But I really admired actually how
my
father really dealt with it.